the Wentworth Gallery exhibit. Was that coming up 9 days from now, July 20th, right before the Skynyrd tour gets underway. Well, let's go back to where you first got this idea for the Ringo painting. What was the first thing, and I know in other interviews you've talked about the influence of Ringo and the Beatles, but what was the first time you went, I want to do a painting involving Ringo Starr?
Well, I'll tell you, Luke, as you know, I sit behind a drum kit a lot, and one night I was just thinking, I wonder what it would be like to sit behind Ringo's kit. I wonder what it would be like to be Ringo sitting behind the Beatles. And that's where the idea first germinated. And that was about 15 years ago. So I just made a note, do a Ringo painting, being Ringo at some point. And like I do, I keep adding painting ideas to that list. And about a year ago, the Beatles released that Get Back documentary, which was about the famous rooftop concert and while they were working on Let It Be. And I thought, oh, this is the time to do it. Because the idea I had was, what was it like to be Ringo on the rooftop at the very last concert? So I had the idea 15 years ago, and when the Get Back documentary came out, I thought, oh, well, now's the time to do the painting. So I then spent quite a while researching, looking at photographs, looking at films and old videos, and then I spent a full year working on that painting, Luke. It's 5 feet across. It has a crazy amount of detail. I made sure that the drum heads were discolored and beat up, and the cymbals were tarnished, and it looked exactly like it did when Ringo was playing them. And then the buildings across the street, I researched the brick and mortar pattern. I wanted to leave nothing to chance. So it is as authentic as it could be. And if people would like to see what this looks like that aren't going to be at that Wentworth show next week, they can go on the WentworthGallery.com website, and you can see the painting there. And I am very, very proud of that one. As well as the painting I just finished a couple weeks ago is called 50. And that's a tribute to Lynyrd Skynyrd. And this year is the 50th anniversary of the band's first album, Pronounced. So I did a painting that is a portrait of the 7 band members from that album. And then we made 50 canvas reproductions that I signed and numbered that are available through Wentworth Gallery. So people can see those online too. And I'm very proud of both of those new works, and I encourage people to seek them out.
Yeah, and looking through the list, if anyone listening goes to WentworthGallery.com and you start to see all the names, like some who I already know who are painters, some I did not know who are painters, and they're all there, and of course you're one of them. When on the Ringo one, on Get Back, I presume, like most of us that were like Beatles fans, probably sat through all 8 hours and probably could have gone longer with that. Did seeing that change, like as you're imagining how you're going to take this perspective, and then you get to see all of this behind the scenes stuff that's getting unveiled, was there any slight change of approach where you went, oh, okay, I didn't know blank until you saw the documentary, and that led you in a slightly different direction from that angle on the rooftop concert?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because there was so much more reference material. Everything down to, I didn't realize the microphone was tilted like that, because maybe the photographs I was seeing 15 years ago didn't show that angle. So it was invaluable when the Get Back documentary came out. And by the way, yes, I'm one of those people who has watched it a dozen times.
Yep.
Because it never loses the magic for me.
Right.
My secret hope is one day Ringo will see this painting And he'll go, yeah, he nailed it. That's what it looked like.
Yeah. Oh, I hope so. It looks great. And I'm looking at it right now at the website, which is right next to the 51, which you reference as well. Why black and white for the 50 painting?
You know, I love the classic look of a black and white portrait. And I just thought it was more timeless to do it in black and white. And, you know, people can see if they start to look through my paintings that I like doing black and white portraits. You know, I did one of John Lennon. I've done one of Charlie Chaplin, who's another one of my heroes. And there's something about that classic black and white that it just looks timeless to me.
What, in looking at all your other paintings, and I see different influences, different techniques. There's like a bit of the Van Gogh approach in one, or pointillist in another, using some of the more common terms. Is there a particular painting technique that you like to marry with, whether it's a musician, artist, or whatever subject you're trying to figure, like what would be like an ultimate one that you haven't yet approached?
Well, you know, yesterday, my wife, whose birthday we were celebrating, and I went to the Museum of Art here in New York City, where we live, and we were glued to some Monet paintings. And I found myself yesterday thinking, you know, I haven't really experimented with that kind of approach, and I think I'm going to. So thank you for the encouragement, Luke.
Yes.
I'm going to do it.
Good. That'll be awesome to see. So we'll have more.
Yeah.
We'll have more coming up there. What do you have a favorite painting? I know it's like the what's your favorite child question, but do you have a favorite of everything you've done?
You're right. That is a very hard question to answer, but I will tell you there is a painting called New York, and it is a kind of a sepia tone painting that looks like a early 1900s street scene. It has old cars in it, old buildings, old billboards, and in the foreground of the painting, I placed my three heroes sitting on a park bench, sharing a laugh in a very kind of a Norman Rockwell Americana feel. And the three heroes on that painting are Harry Houdini, Charlie Chaplin, and sitting in between them, my father.
Aha. Which I'm looking at the painting now, and I went, you know, that person in the middle kind of looks like you. I wonder if it's okay.
Yeah.
That.
And I will tell you, my father, rest in peace, was alive when I started that painting, and I remember he came in the room, and I had already sketched in on the canvas a detailed pencil drawing, because I wasn't going to leave it to chance. And he saw the pencil drawing of his face, and he pointed at it, and he said, "Is this?" It was a really great moment.
Oh.
And then fast forward, when the painting was done, my parents came to a Wentworth Gallery show, and I have a photograph of him standing next to it, and it's a pretty amazing moment.
That's really cool.
So that's probably the one I'm